Hello, it's Bill, the knee pain guru. Welcome to today's video. We're going to talk today about how to reduce knee pain, break down scar tissue, increase the range of motion in the knee. We're going to get to that in just a moment. For those that are watching, if you would like to enter in your questions about what you're dealing with your knee now, or if you're watching the replay of this, enter that in as well. I monitor all comments, so good questions. I could use them on future videos. So make sure you start typing in your questions now. Also, give the video a thumbs up, like and subscribe to my channel, and turn on notifications so you know of future videos that I will be doing in and around the subject of pain, knee pain, scar tissue, physical therapy, doctors, all that kind of good stuff. So before we get into looking at what you're dealing with as far as like reducing knee pain, breaking down scar tissue, and increasing range of motion in the knee, it's important to look at the current options that you're dealing with. And most of the time it is either pushing through the pain, like in physical therapy or some sort of exercise, or if you've been trying that for a while and it's not working, you've kind of hit a plateau, doctors usually propose an MUA, or manipulation under anesthesia. That's where they put you unconscious and then they bend the knee to the point that it breaks the scar tissue down. Both of those ways are very invasive, and it puts the body through a further trauma that it's already been through. So at this point, if you got scar tissue, there's been some sort of injury initially. Then many times there's been surgery or multiple surgeries after that, and you're developing scar tissue as a result of that trauma. So we're going to look into what is happening in the knee that is creating the scar tissue to begin with, and then how can we begin to break that down and increase the range of motion. So first and foremost, the body produces scar tissue to protect the knee from injury. Think of it like your body's Band-Aid. Scar tissue is there to hold the knee in a place that is safe, so it's not going to hurt more. So something has happened to your knee, the initial injury, you had the surgery afterwards, even pushing through the pain creates further trauma with the knee. So what happens is the knee tenses up to protect itself. Normal natural response to pain, to the stress that it's going through the trauma that it's been through, the injury, the accident, the surgery. When this happens, it creates a neurological response, like a feedback loop with your brain. Your knee goes, this hurts. The brain goes, okay, we're not going to move it so much. So your body tenses up. Not only your knee, your entire body tenses up to protect the knee from getting injured further. Well, what happens is your body now fills in the gaps with this scar tissue to hold the knee in that place so it doesn't hurt more. But what ends up happening is it hurts more. So your body tenses up more. So it becomes kind of an endless loop that your body gets stuck in, where the more you try to push through the pain that you're experiencing, the more your body tenses up to protect itself, which builds more scar tissue. So it's important to understand this mechanism of what's going on in your body in order to get past it. So Einstein said we can't solve a problem at the level that the problem was created. We have to come from a higher perspective in order to address the problem. So the problem is solely on a physical level that the scar tissue is being formed. And in order to come up above it, we have to address it on a neurological level, which begins to change the pattern that's going on in the knee. So we understand that your body to protect the joint from further injury. So how do we begin to increase the range of motion in the knee joint without it being painful? Well, here's an interesting part. Most of the time, from a conventional medical perspective, they're talking about extension and flexion of the knee. It's a very linear understanding and range of motion in the knee. In actuality, the knee has many more planes of motion. The knee slightly twists, slightly moves side to side, slightly moves forward and back, slightly moves apart and together, and it also tilts. The joint moves in all these different planes of motion. Now, those other intrinsic, those tiny planes of motion are not big. We're only talking about millimeters a lot of times. However, that plane of motion, that range of motion, is key in order for your joint to be able to articulate in a way to fully extend and fully bend the joint. And when scar tissue builds up in these places, it makes it difficult for that intrinsic movement to take place. Now, the analogy that I like to use is if you have a door that's hung in your house. You see that door back there? It's hung in the house, and it closes because the reference point that the hinges are put in the door frame is perfect for the door to close. Now, if we were to move those hinges slightly forward or slightly back, slightly up or slightly down, so it isn't lined up with that door jamb, what ends up happening is the door won't fully close or the door won't fully open. This is exactly what's happening in your knee. It's these subtle little movements of misalignment that does not show up on an X-ray, a CT scan, or an MRI. Your knee is going to be normal, except for the scar tissue buildup. And what ends up happening is it makes it difficult to extend and bend the leg. Not because of the extension and flexion is incorrect. It's because of this intrinsic movement that the knee is not able to fully operate in, that locks it into a place where it's not able to go full extension, full flexion. So we have to relax the joint, not in the gross motor movement of the knee, but in the slight intrinsic movements of the knee. When we begin to do that, we begin to reprogram the neurological loop that's taking place between the knee and the brain, sending it out to the rest of the body, that the knee has to tense up to protect itself. When we change this neurological signaling, the range of motion in the knee begins to increase pretty immediately. It's kind of a cool hacking your nervous system. It's an approach to be able to hack the nervous system by working with this intrinsic movement of the joint to find comfort, which allows the joint to relax. It's not so tense. And when it's not so tense, the range of motion increases pretty quickly. So here's how that plays into breaking down the scar tissue. Just the natural increased range of motion in the knee as a result of creating comfort and reprogramming that neurological signaling, just the natural movement of the joint as it increases will break down the scar tissue. You don't have to fight the body to do so, because now what you're doing is you're aligning yourself with your nervous system's capacity to heal what's going on in your knee. Instead of fighting it, instead of pushing through the pain, instead of getting a manipulation under anesthesia or thinking you have to continue to try harder, you start working smarter. You start working in alignment with your body's ability to heal. And then everything starts to fall in line. So we've relaxed the tension in the joint to increase the range of motion, the natural movement of the joint. You getting up, moving around, is going to begin to break down the scar tissue on its own. Now, here's another piece that's very important, is drinking lots of water, drinking plenty of water, because your body is supposed to be 80% water. And what ends up happening is when a joint gets tight, and this ties into a whole thread on arthritis, and what happens in the joint, that all diagnosis of arthritis is dehydrated joint. But that's, I'll actually put a link at the end of the video after I edit this. I'll put a link at the end of the video about videos talking about arthritis and the mechanisms with that. But in the context of scar tissue, we want to have the joint needs to be able to draw on the resources of the body to lubricate the joint. If the body's dehydrated, then when you relax the joint and you create the space so it increases the range of motion, if it doesn't have the lubrication, the lasting effects of the neurological signaling aren't going to be there. So that's important. So we want to make sure we drink lots of water. And then something that I don't see spoken about at all is the effects that the hips and the lower back have for the range of motion in the knee. Your body's a series of pulleys and levers. In order for the knee to bend, the hip has to engage as well. You can't fully extend and fully flex the knee joint in a vacuum. Your body is an interconnected series of pulleys and levers. And if you just focus on the knee, just blame the range of motion or lack thereof in the knee on scar tissue, what happens is you never get full extension and full flexion in the knee, which is what many people do and why they're so stuck. So when the knee is injured, when there is a problem in the knee, it affects the hips and the lower back as well. You have to look upstream, higher in the body, and downstream towards the feet and understand the effects that the injury in the knee, the surgery from the knee, the trauma that the knee has experienced, how it's affecting other parts of your body, and how that ability of the knee in order to fully extend and fully flex and the scar tissue it's forming from the trauma that it's experienced is affecting the rest of the body as well. Which is why after you injure a knee, I did it myself, dislocated my left knee 4 times, and my hip on my left knee, my hip had pulled up. So the tension, I felt tension not only on that side, but also a transfer on the other side. And what ends up happening is if we just look at the knee in a vacuum and we don't address the tension patterns that are going on in the hamstrings, the quads, the hips, the lower back, the shins and the calves, the ankles and the feet, what happens is we leave a lot on the table and you'll never get the knee out of pain, and the range of motion and scar tissue buildup many times is still there. So that is the presentation. Remember, we're going to, number 1, the body produces scar tissue to protect the joint from injury. Number 2, we have to relax the joint in the intrinsic ranges of motion to increase the gross motor movement, the extension and flexion of the knee. We also have to look, we have to realize that the natural movement of the knee as a result of creating comfort in the knee will begin to break down the scar tissue itself. Make sure you're drinking lots of water so then the body can rehydrate the knee. And we have to look at other parts of the body, hips, lower back, all the way up and down the legs, even up into the shoulders and arms. So that is my strategy, my approach for addressing reducing knee pain, breaking down scar tissue, and increasing the range of motion in the knee. If you have questions, there's a number of people on the line right here. If you have questions, please type those in the comment section. I see some are coming in right now. Remember to give the video a thumbs up, like and subscribe to my channel, and turn on the notifications to be notified of future videos that I'll be doing on different subjects in and around knee pain. Okay, Ron says, I can't bend my knee all the way. Another online doctor suggested that my quads need a good stretch. However, trying to stretch my knee hurts. Yes. I talked about, Ron. And all of the notes that I talked about. The range of motion hurts because your body is protecting the knee from getting injured further. Stretching and strengthening are good in the right order. And if your knee is in pain and you're starting out in pain and trying to push through pain to get out of pain, it doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. Your body, oh, got it. Yeah. then you'll definitely want to watch the replay to get all of the details on it. But the range of motion, the more we can create comfort, the more, there's two things we can focus on with the knee. We can focus on pain and pushing through the pain, or we can begin focusing on comfort. And what we focus on expands. So the more we focus on comfort, the more comfort expands. When the knee is more comfortable, the range of motion increases and all of the mechanisms for the body to heal the knee begin to come online. It just makes sense. You don't need letters after your name. You don't need to go to school, have a degree in anatomy and physiology or any of that fancy stuff to understand the concept that if the knee joint is more comfortable, the body feels more willing to push it further. It's an outdated mentality thinking that you're going to start out in pain and you're going to push through the pain to get out of pain. It doesn't work that way. That's why so many people are dealing with, excuse me, the frustration of physical therapy and trying to push through the pain, and it's not getting them anywhere. Excuse about the cough. Got the cough drop, got the extra water. We had to reschedule from Monday because I got hammered over the weekend with this cold. Okay, we have more people on the line. If you have questions, please type those in. I will answer those. Remember to give the video a thumbs up, like and subscribe to the channel, The Knee Pain Guru, and turn on the notifications. If you want an actionable step, head over to my website, thekneepainguru.com, and you can take my 7-day knee pain reduction challenge, where I will begin to teach you how to create comfort in the knee and increase the range of motion. It's a simple process and it has profound effects. That is like the sample. Try it out. I know I'm coming from a very different approach than what most people on the internet or what most people you would meet in person would tell you. And I get it. I'm some guy on the internet calling himself a guru. Totally cool with that. Head over to the website, try it out. If it works, great. I got plenty of other stuff to get you completely out of pain, increase the range of motion in your knee. If it doesn't work and you're doing it correctly, which is only creating comfort, the worst case scenario is nothing changes in your knee. No harm, no foul. You go your way, I'll go mine. However, understanding that concept of aligning comfort, of realizing when you shift neurological states and your body's healing capacity comes online has profound effects. And the body heals itself very quickly, very easily. Okay, no more questions. I'm good with that. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much, Ron, for asking your questions. Remember, for those that are watching the replay, type in your questions and comments as well. I monitor all of them, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I will address them. If you put in a good question or a question that I haven't addressed before on previous videos, then I will certainly use that on future videos. So this is Bill Paravano, the Knee Pain Guru, going to sign off for today. Oh, Gilliam, I would need to dump my physical therapist and surgeon. After a manipulation this past Monday, the stray is working through the pain. Oh, it's more of a statement. Yeah, I mean, like the doctors and PTs know what they know. It doesn't make them wrong. I think there's more to the picture. There's more to the conversation. If this is everything we know, and no, it's fine, Gilliam. It's one of those situations where I really believe most doctors and physical therapists are trying their best, but they're in a medical model, yeah, it's to work through the pain. Their plan is to work through the pain. And it can work for some. However, I find there is a huge amount of people that it doesn't work for. It's where I found myself on the other side of the surgery and the physical therapy, that I still had tons of swelling and pain and scar tissue, and was struggling with range of motion in my knee. So there's other options. It's not going to be a fit for everybody. And it's understandable. Sorry about the cough. I think I'm going to wrap it so I don't continue to cough in front of everybody. So next video is going to be Monday. Once again, enter in your questions, give the video a thumbs up, like and subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and head over to my website and take my 7-day knee pain reduction challenge. Bill Paravano, the knee pain guru, going to sign off for today. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon.